And of course there is Bernard Cribbins, who is a national treasure. He started his professional career at the Arts Theatre on the West End in A Comedy of Errors in 1956, and for the past 50 years he's been a constant on film, television and even the UK music charts. He had 3 top 40 singles in the 60s. He appeared in 2 Carry On films, Carry On Jack and Carry On Spying. Well, okay, officially he appeared in 3, but if Carry On Columbus is going to be omitted from the official DVD box set, who are we to argue? And he also appeared in the original 1967 version of the James Bond film Casino Royale. Wow, he really does get about a bit, doesn't he? And for more on that particular movie, please see episode 2 of our show, where we took a look at said film.
What's you, pussycat?
No! Cribbins is probably best known to people of our generation for his contributions to the series Jack and Nori, where he appeared in more episodes than any other storyteller. He appeared in 114 between 1966 and 1991. I'm in my early 40s now, and I still want Bernard Cribbins to read me a bedtime story. Cribbins replaces his fellow Carry On star Roy Castle as the heroic yet rather bumbling sidekick role, doing some excellent physical comedy when he tries to fit in with the rest of the Robo Men, but he also has a lot of fun doing the sort of action heroics he was never really asked to perform in any of his other work. And of course, like many, this certainly wouldn't be the last time that Cribbins would cross paths with the Time Lord. Oh, damn these onions.
Right, yes. Bigger on the inside.
Do you like it? I thought it'd be cleaner.
Cleaner?
And last, but certainly not least, there is Peter Cushing. Well, what hasn't Peter Cushing been in? From Sherlock Holmes to Baron Frankenstein, from Winston Smith to Grand Moff Tarkin, Cushing had a career that spanned 6 decades across television, film, stage and radio. During that time he's killed more vampires than Buffy, outsmarted Moriarty, fought Daleks, travelled to the Earth's core and verbally bitch-slapped Darth Vader whilst blowing up Alderaan. Yep, Chuck Norris has got nothing on this guy.
No matter the role, Peter Cushing never, ever gave a performance that was less than 100%. And in some cases, he wasn't even paid. Spending the first 3 years of his acting career in Rep Theatre, Cushing made his screen debut in The Man in the Iron Mask in 1939. A high point in the early Hollywood part of his career was being cast in A Trump at Oxford alongside Laurel and Hardy in 1940. Now, unfortunately, these early successes didn't lead to more work, and due to the outbreak of World War II, that certainly didn't help. At one point he was forced to work designing ladies' headscarves at a Macclesfield-based silk manufacturer to make ends meet. In the autumn of 1946, after the war ended, Cushing unsuccessfully auditioned for the part of Paul Varell in a stage production of the play Born Yesterday that was being staged by the famed actor and director Sir Laurence Olivier. Now, he wasn't cast because he insisted he could not perform in an American accent. After Cushing attempted the accent and failed. Olivier replies, "Well, I appreciate you for not wasting my time. I shall remember you." Nearing middle age and finding it increasingly harder to make a living in acting, Cushing actually began to consider himself to be a failure.
In 1947, Laurence Olivier sought him out when he was adapting Hamlet into a film. Cushing's wife Helen pushed him to pursue the role. Far from being deterred by Cushing's unsuccessful audition the year before, Olivier remembered the actor well and was happy to cast him. But the only character left unfilled was the relatively small part of the foppish courtier, Osric. Cushing accepted the role, and Hamlet, in 1948, marked his British film debut. Hamlet went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture and earned Cushing praise for his performance. Also appearing in the film was Christopher Lee, who would eventually become a close friend and frequent co-star with Cushing.
Yeah, and Cushing appeared in 22 films for Hammer, playing Baron Frankenstein 6 times, Dr. Van Helsing 5 times. He played Sherlock Holmes in both film, the Hammer version of The Hound of the Baskervilles, and on television. His performance as Winston Smith in 1984, which was adapted by Nigel Neal in 1954, led to questions being asked about its suitability in Parliament. His final film role came in 1986 with Biggles, An Adventure in Time, which I have a soft spot for. Mabbers, that could be an interesting candidate for us to look at. Cushing died in 1994 after a long fight against prostate cancer.
Peter Cushing was actually offered the role of the second Doctor, but it looked like William Hartnell was going to leave the show, but he actually turned the role down. Something that he would later say he deeply regretted. It's a bit awkward that the films depict such similar events to the ones seen in William Hartnell's adventure, but there's probably a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey explanation for that.
There is indeed, David. In fact, the biggest obstacle to Peter Cushing being Doctor Who is the fact that he's already canon. In Stephen Moffat's novelisation of The Day of the Doctor mentions that he knows Peter Cushing personally, and that Cushing made some rather inaccurate movies about some of his adventures. And the Doctor even mentions that he loaned Peter Cushing a waistcoat for the second film. The novel also mentions that Cushing's friendship with the Doctor explains how he managed to appear in Star Wars Rogue One several years after his death. In fact, allow me to read you some, if I will.
Well, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that you've got the actual sort of novelisation, the proper adaptation of the show. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? Are you about to do a dramatic reading here, Luke?
Hello everyone, and welcome to Storytime with Luke. At the table, negotiations had entered their 9th hour, and both Kates looked ready to flop face down. Clara noticed that the Osgoods were taking a break with each other and appeared to be sharing the same inhaler, which surely presaged well for peace on Earth. The two younger, older, Doctors were wandering about the shelves, fiddling with things and occasionally gossiping about some photographs of their various companions, which they found pinned to a notice board. There had been an ugly period when they discovered a VHS tape of the movie Daleks Invasion of Earth and insisted on watching it. They nearly derailed the negotiations by shouting, cheering and joining in, and then had spent the next hour calling each other Doctor Who and talking like Peter Cushing. Clara had a sinking feeling that her doctor might stick that way. "I love his bandy legs," he said, imitating Doctor Who's walk by making no apparent change at all. "I can tell," said the other one. "How?" When they'd found a DVD of the other movie, remastered, they tried to get the old man to join in, but he smiled and waved them away.